We're not plugged into shore power at the local campground. This is stealth camping. My favorite day use areas tend to be county parks, which have nice public restrooms and are sparsely populated usually, despite a walking track, which in this area we tend to use as a dog park. It also has a nice shelter house to keep the sun and rain off me while I eat this pizza. There's also space to set up my hammock for my afternoon nap in the cool breeze. And finally, a free Wi-Fi hotspot.
After minivan camping since college and camping in converted buses with my parents 20 years before that, a recent popularity has prompted me to change the way that I camp and go full stealth. Now, I'm just going to show what I do. I'm not trying to tell anyone else how to live their lives. Just give some ideas and dispel some myths that I see repeatedly on the internet. Today I'm going to cover 4 things that just scream, I'm sleeping in my car. And with each of those, I will show what I used to have in different vehicles, campers, etc. And then my alternatives. So thanks for watching.
Subscribe today for more camper van video. Driving down any residential street, we'll see boxes like this sitting on people's porches from deliveries and think absolutely nothing of it. But put that same box on the street in front of the house, and it starts to pique people's curiosity. Leave that very same box at the airport unattended, and sometimes they call that an incident. It's similar with vans. This would be completely ignored in a campground that still allows van camping. But parallel parked in my neighborhood, it would be the topic of a post on the HOA website. Just as I did when my neighbors moved in next door, if this was parked in front of my house all day, I would certainly be knocking on the door and introducing myself. Some people, not most, but a few, would even suspect this. For this demonstration, I used the best camera I could find. The scenes are grainy because the ISO is cranked up to allow in more light. I also found the brightest street I could. This historic district has streetlights twice as bright, spaced half as far apart. I would normally park on a much darker side street with normal streetlights, normally spaced. But this is the worst case scenario. This is the most one is going to see. From the shadow side, there isn't much at all. My stock dark minivan with stock window tint is ignored. From the front, someone walking down the sidewalk could look through the front window, over me, beneath eye level, and out the rear. The same with headlights from cars. Asleep on my 6-inch sofa bed, I'm beneath their angle of incidence. The most vulnerable side is that with the giant street light, yet like a magician's illusion, even it reveals nothing below window level. The next thing I no longer have is a roof vent. People sometimes fear they will run out of air. Not in a stock vehicle. We slept 2 in a Geo Metro hatchback outside of Washington, D.C. I spent the night in the trunk of my Chrysler LeBaron in Baltimore. I've never been close to running out of it. I don't need a vent to exhaust moisture. I don't have moisture problems because I don't create moisture problems. Water vapor is a byproduct of propane, for example, but my heat and cooking are both van-powered electric. Cooking can also create moisture, but I only microwave in indoor mode occasionally during inclement weather, and never use my electric stove inside the van. More often than not, I cook standing outside my sliding passenger side door, with my kitchen swiveled into outdoor mode. Another reason I don't have condensation is my 12-volt resistant heat is restricted to the bed, so the temperature inside my van is not much different than outside air temperatures. I wear a nightcap like in Scrooge, and 'twas the night before Christmas. Condensation forms when warm inside air, which holds more moisture, comes into contact with a colder window. Since I've never had a condensation problem, I didn't mention it in this video linked above of me camping in sub-freezing temperatures, but the evidence is there. As seen here, there wasn't any overnight condensation formed during my warmer spring trip, where nighttime lows in the mountains were in the high 30s and humidity was 95%. Notice the filthy windows from driving National Forest roads all day. I'm planning another video in July where I'll show how I use this in the summer heat. All that being said, if I were full-time, my own sweat could cause moisture problems, but those can be addressed during the day, just like when tent camping. If necessary, I would run my fans on solar during the day with the windows down, similar to the exhaust fan in my bathroom at home. I'm not saying I never have condensation. I'm saying I fogged up my windows more often when I was a teenager than I do camping. Of these four things I don't have, rooftop solar is probably the least revealing. At least at night, and as far as solar installation goes, this example is pretty good. I'm rarely stationary for more than a couple days, so my DC to DC charger provides all the power I need. On my last trip, I was running both the fridge and the heat, so after parking on Friday around 9 p.m. and spending 2 nights camping, I needed to recharge my marine battery at 50% around 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. But I was leaving anyway. Here is a link to my electrical system video, which describes how my alternator-powered 110-volt system and my 12-volt DC to DC charger and house battery system work together. Were I in the habit of staying in the same place for long, I would purchase a solar blanket like this example and deploy it on my rooftop at a day use area. Also, intermittently, I can plug into shore power at the home of a relative or start my van for an hour a day if absolutely necessary. Not only can they cause concern at drive-thrus and parking garages or when parallel parking, but nothing draws my attention more than a cargo box on the top or rear of a vehicle. They instantly identify one as a traveler, which invites further interest. Moving my kitchen from the back to the front was a game changer in more ways than one. Most of the things I used to put in a cargo box are now under my sofa bed. The double rope hammock and stand you saw earlier, along with the 8-foot sunbrella, folding chairs, fishing rods, etc., all slide in through the rear hatch. Smaller items like extra food and clothing, plus my camera equipment, go on top of those via the front and rear hinged parts of the sofa bed deck.
When I was growing up in the 1970s, I could skateboard anywhere. Sidewalks, in the street, at any park. But now everywhere I go, I see signs saying no skateboarding and 10 other things you can't do. Popularity always comes with regulation. And I'm seeing that now with van camping. When I first started in minivans in college, we threw our bed in the back of a first generation Chevy Astro and headed off to Florida. We didn't think about where we were allowed to camp and not camp. We just went. And now we're seeing, Harvest Host doesn't allow vans unless they're Class B. Boondockers Welcome don't allow vans unless they're Class B. Nearly half of all Walmarts now don't allow overnight parking. Used to be able to park at rest areas. Most state rest areas now don't allow overnight parking. So my reaction to this is just to blend in, to not be detected, and that's what stealth is. Camping without detection. And this is how I do it. I don't usually
camp parallel parked on the side of the road. That's the litmus test for stealth. That's the example I used in this video. But anyway, how do you do it? How are you adapting to the current hostile environment? Let me know in the comments. Thanks.